Jake Morrison walked through the long hallway of the Galaxy Council station. His shoes made soft sounds on the metal floor. The walls were covered with symbols from many different worlds. Strange lights blinked in patterns he did not understand. The air smelled like chemicals and something else he could not name. He had been Earth's ambassador for 5 years now. 5 years of meetings, discussions, and arguments. 5 years of being treated like a child by creatures who thought humans were too young and too dangerous to be trusted. The main council room was huge. The ceiling reached so high that Jake could barely see the top. 12 different species had their seats arranged in a perfect circle. Each seat was built for a different type of alien body. Some were tall, some were short. Some needed water. Others needed special gases to breathe. Jake's seat was the smallest. It sat lower than all the others. This was not an accident. The aliens wanted him to feel small and unimportant. They wanted him to look up at them like a student looking up at teachers. Chancellor Vexthak was already in his seat. The Zephyrian was 9 feet tall with gray skin that looked like stone. His eyes were completely black like deep holes. When he spoke, his voice sounded like rocks grinding together. He had been the head of the council for over 100 years. Next, to him sat Hive Queen Zactel. She looked like a giant insect with 6 arms and 4 eyes. Her body was covered in shiny green armor. She never spoke with words. Instead, she made clicking sounds that a machine translated into speech. The machine's voice was cold and had no feeling. The other aliens were already in their places too. There was the floating jellyfish-like creature from the Nebula worlds, the crystal being from Sigma Draconis that looked like living glass, the furry bear-like aliens from the cold worlds who wore thick clothing even in the warm station. Jake took his seat. He placed his hands on the smooth table in front of him. He had small recording devices hidden in his jacket. Everything that happened here would be sent back to Earth. President Carter and her team would hear every word. Chancellor Vexthak stood up. His massive form cast a shadow over the entire table. "Ambassador Morrison," he said in his grinding voice, "we have called this meeting to discuss a very serious matter." Jake nodded but said nothing. He had learned that sometimes it was better to stay quiet and let the aliens talk first. They often told him more than they meant to. "For too long, your species has been a problem," Vexthak continued. "Humans spread too fast. You build too many ships, you ask too many questions. You do not follow the rules that keep peace in the galaxy." Hive Queen Zactel's machine voice joined in. "Humans are aggressive. Humans are unpredictable. Other species fear what humans might do next." The crystal being made a sound like wind chimes. Its translator said, "Human technology advances too quickly. This disturbs the natural order of things." Jake listened to each complaint. He had heard them all before. Humans explored too much. Humans learned too fast. Humans did not stay in their place. It was the same list of problems that the council had been talking about for years. "What do you want me to tell my government?" Jake asked. His voice was calm and steady. Inside, he felt his heart beating faster, but he did not let it show on his face. Chancellor Vexthak reached under his seat and pulled out a large tablet. The screen glowed with alien writing. "The council has made a decision. These are our final demands. Your government will accept them, or there will be consequences." He began to read from the tablet. His voice got louder with each word. "First, all human military ships must be surrendered to council control. Second, Earth's government will be supervised by council representatives. Third, 80% of all humans must move to worlds chosen by the council. Fourth, no human may leave these designated worlds without council permission." The room was completely silent. Even the usual hums and beeps from the alien machines seemed to stop. Every eye, whether it was black, compound, or made of crystal, was focused on Jake. "You have 6 months to comply," Vexthak said. "If you refuse, the council will use force to make sure these demands are met." Jake sat still for a long moment. He thought about his wife back on Earth. He thought about his 2 children who were in school. He thought about the billions of humans living there, lives on hundreds of different worlds. The aliens wanted to put most of them in cages like animals in a zoo. He thought about all the times humans had helped these same aliens. When the Red Plague had killed millions of Centauri, human doctors had found a cure. When the Altarian trade, ships had broken down, human engineers had fixed them. When the Hive Queen's colonies had run out of food, human farmers had taught them new growing methods. None of that seemed to matter now. The aliens still saw humans as dangerous children who needed to be controlled. Jake stood up slowly. He was much shorter than most of the aliens, but at that moment, he felt like the tallest person in the room. He looked directly at Chancellor Vexthak. Then he looked at each of the other alien representatives. "I need to ask you something," Jake said. His voice was quiet, but it carried clearly through the huge room. "Do you really think we are going to agree to this?" Chancellor Vexthak's black eyes narrowed. "You have no choice. The council has decided." Jake smiled. It was not a happy smile. It was the kind of smile that a person makes when they hear something funny that is not really funny at all. "No," Jake said. The word hung in the air like a physical thing. It seemed to echo off the walls and ceiling. Some of the aliens leaned forward in their seats. Others made sounds of surprise. "What did you say?" Vexthak demanded. "I said no," Jake repeated. He picked up his papers and put them in his briefcase. "The answer is no. Humans will not surrender our ships. We will not accept your supervision. We will not move to your prison worlds. The answer to all of your demands is no." The room erupted. Aliens were making noises Jake had never heard before. Some were standing up and waving their arms or tentacles or wings. Others were hitting their tables or flashing different colors. Chancellor Vexthak slammed his huge fist on the table. The sound was like thunder. "You cannot simply refuse. The council has the power to force compliance." Jake closed his briefcase with a soft click. The sound was tiny compared to all the alien noise, but somehow everyone heard it. The room became quiet again. "You can try," Jake said. He turned and walked toward the exit. His footsteps echoed in the sudden silence. Behind him, chaos erupted again. Aliens were shouting, clicking, buzzing, and making every kind of noise imaginable. Jake did not look back. He walked through the door and into the hallway. As the door closed behind him, he could still hear the panic in the council chamber. They had expected him to negotiate. They had expected him to ask for better terms or more time. They had expected fear. They had not expected a simple, quiet no more. Jake walked back down the long hallway toward the human section of the station. He had calls to make and messages to send. President Carter would want to know exactly what had happened. Admiral Hayes would need to prepare the fleet. General Sullivan would need to get Earth's defenses ready. The aliens thought they were dealing with frightened children. They were about to learn that they had badly underestimated the human race. The war was not going to be fought with guns and ships. It was going to be fought with something much more powerful. It was going to be fought with human stubbornness and the simple refusal to be bullied by anyone, no matter how big or powerful they thought they were. Jake Morrison smiled as he walked. It was a real smile this time. The aliens had just made the biggest mistake in galactic history. They had given humans a reason to stop being nice. President Lisa Carter sat at the head of the long table in the White House Situation Room. The room had no windows. Thick walls kept all sounds from getting in or out. Large screens on the walls showed maps of human space and alien territories. Red dots marked the positions of human ships and colonies. She had been president for 3 years. Before that, she had been a general in the Space Force. She knew how to make hard decisions. Today would require the hardest decision any human leader had ever made. Around the table sat her most trusted advisors. Admiral Rick Hayes commanded all human military ships. His gray hair and scarred hands showed his 40 years of service. He had fought pirates in the outer systems and rescued colonists from dying worlds. Everyone in the room respected him. General Kate Sullivan ran Earth's planetary defenses. She was younger than the Admiral, but just as tough. Her job was to protect the homeworld from any attack. She had spent 10 years building weapon systems and shield generators that could stop any invasion. Dr. Alex Thompson headed the Human Research Consortium. He looked like a typical scientist with thick glasses and messy hair, but his mind had created some of the most advanced technology in the galaxy. His inventions had made human ships faster and human weapons more powerful than anything the aliens had. Captain Bobby Clark represented the colonial worlds. He had grown up on Mars and understood the problems of living far from Earth. Millions of humans lived on hundreds of different planets. They all needed to know what was happening. The door opened and Jake Morrison walked in. He looked tired from his long trip back from the council station. His face was serious as he took his seat at the table. "Tell us exactly what happened, President," Carter said. Jake described the meeting in detail. He told them about the alien demands and their threats. He explained how Chancellor Vexithak had read the ultimatum like it was already decided. He repeated every word of the conversation. "They really think we will just give up," Admiral Hayes said. His voice was angry. "They think we will hand over our ships and move to their prison worlds like sheep." "It gets worse," Jake said. He pulled out a recording device and placed it on the table. "I recorded everything. Listen to this part." The device played sounds from the council meeting. The aliens were talking among themselves after Jake had left the room. They thought the recording device was turned off. Chancellor Vexthak's grinding voice came through clearly. "The humans will surrender within a month. They are too weak to fight us. They depend on galactic trade too much to survive alone." Hive Queen Zaktel's machine voice answered, "If they resist, we will destroy their colonies one by one. Other species will see what happens to those who disobey the council." The crystal being's wind chime voice added, "Humans are useful servants. Once we control them properly, they can work for us forever." President Carter's face grew hard as stone. The other people in the room looked angry enough to start fighting. Right there. The aliens were not just demanding surrender. They were planning to make humans into slaves. "How long do we have?" General Sullivan asked. 6 months, Jake answered. "That is what they said officially. But based on what I heard after the meeting, they plan to start attacking in 3 months if we do not agree." Dr. Thompson leaned forward. "Madam President, I need to tell you something important. For the past 5 years, we have been preparing for exactly this situation." Everyone looked at him with surprise. Even President Carter seemed confused. "What do you mean?" she asked. "We knew this day would come," Dr. Thompson explained. "The aliens have been getting more demanding every year. They see how fast we grow and learn, and it scares them. So we made a plan. We call it Operation Steel Resolve." He pressed a button on his tablet. The screens around the room changed to show new information. Charts and graphs filled with numbers and data appeared. "For 5 years, we have been making ourselves essential to galactic civilization," Dr. Thompson continued. "Every major alien technology now has human-made parts. Every important trade route goes through human space. Every critical medicine or cure comes from human research." Admiral Hayes studied the charts. "Are you saying we control more than they realize?" "Much more," Dr. Thompson said with a smile. "The Altarian Republic uses our quantum drives in all their ships. Without our maintenance, those drives will stop working in 2 months. The Centauri Federation depends on our Red Plague cure. Without it, millions of their people will die. The Zephyrians need our fusion reactors for power. Without our technicians, those reactors will shut down." Captain Clark whistled softly. "They built their entire civilization around our help, and they did not even know it." "That was the plan," Dr. Thompson said. "We made them dependent on us while they thought they were using us." President Carter stood up and walked to one of the screens. She studied the information for several minutes. The room was completely quiet while she thought. "What happens if we cut off all cooperation?" she finally asked. "Galactic civilization collapses within 6 months," Dr. Thompson answered. "Maybe sooner." "And what happens to us?" "We get stronger. All the resources we have been giving to aliens come back to human colonies. All the scientists working on alien problems start working on human advancement. We become completely self-sufficient." President Carter turned to face the room. Her decision was made. "Gentlemen, lady, as of this moment, I am authorizing Operation Steel Resolve. All human ships will return to human space immediately. All human colonies will stop all trade with alien worlds. All human scientists will stop sharing research with alien governments. All human aid to alien civilizations ends now. Admiral Hayes smiled grimly. What about our people who are living in alien territory? Send coded messages to all human citizens in alien space. Tell them to come home immediately. Anyone who wants to stay can stay, but they should not expect help from Earth if things go bad. General Sullivan asked, what about the aliens who live in human space? They can stay if they want, but they follow human laws. No special treatment. No diplomatic immunity. They are guests in our house now. Captain Clark raised his hand. The colonists will want to know if this means war. President Carter shook her head. This is not war. War is when two sides fight each other. This is us walking away. We are not attacking anyone. We are not threatening anyone. We are simply stopping all cooperation with species that want to enslave us. Dr. Thompson pressed another button. New information appeared on the screens. I have prepared detailed instructions for every human facility in the galaxy. They will know exactly what to do. How long before the aliens notice what is happening? Jake asked. They will notice immediately when our ships stop delivering supplies, Admiral Hayes said. But they will not understand what it means for several weeks. And when they do understand? President Carter asked. Dr. Thompson's smile grew wider. Then they will panic. They will realize that they are not the masters of the galaxy. They will learn that they have been depending on the very people they want to enslave. President Carter walked back to her seat. Send the orders. Operation Steel Resolve begins immediately, and send one more message to the Galaxy Council. What should it say? Jake asked. President Carter thought for a moment. Tell them that humans reject their ultimatum completely. Tell them that we are withdrawing from all galactic agreements and treaties. Tell them that Earth and all human colonies are now independent of galactic authority. Should I tell them anything else? Yes. Tell them that they made one big mistake. They thought humans were weak because we were nice. They are about to learn the difference. Within an hour, messages were flying to every human ship and colony in the galaxy. The Great Withdrawal had begun. Humanity was about to show the aliens what happened when they pushed too far. The galaxy was about to learn that humans had been holding back all along. They had been nice because they chose to be nice. Now they were choosing something else entirely. 3 weeks had passed since the humans stopped all cooperation with the galaxy. Chancellor Vexithak stood in his private office looking out at the stars. His massive stone-like hands were shaking with anger and something else he did not want to admit. Fear. Reports were coming in from across the galaxy. Every single one brought worse news. The Altarian Republic had lost half of their cargo ships when the quantum drives failed. Human technicians who usually fixed the drives had all gone home. No one else knew how to repair the complex machines. The Centauri Federation was in chaos. Their hospitals were overflowing with Red Plague victims. The human-made cure had run out 2 days ago. Millions of Centauri were dying and their own doctors could not help them. They had forgotten how to treat the disease without human medicine. His own people, the Zephyrians, were facing power shortages across 12 worlds. The fusion reactors that humans had built were starting to shut down. Human engineers had designed them to need regular maintenance that only humans knew how to do. Without that maintenance, the reactors became unstable and automatically turned off for safety. A soft chime told him that someone wanted to speak with him. Enter, he said in his grinding voice. Hive Queen Zactel scuttled into the room on her 6 legs. Her green armor looked dull, and her 4 compound eyes showed stress. Behind her walked the crystal being from Sigma Draconis, whose normally bright glow was now dim and flickering. The situation is getting worse, Zactel's translator machine said. My colonies are starving. Human agricultural technology was feeding 3 billion of my people. We do not know how to grow enough food without their methods. The crystal being made sad wind chime sounds. My people are dying. The energy systems humans built for us are failing. We cannot survive without the power they provided. Chancellor Vexthak turned away from the window. I have called an emergency council meeting. We need to discuss our options. What options? Zachtel asked. The humans have vanished. They do not answer any messages. Their ships do not respond to communications. It is like they have disappeared from the galaxy. They cannot just disappear, Vexthak said, but his voice sounded uncertain. We have sensors, we have scout ships, we know where their colonies are. The crystal being's glow got even dimmer. Our scouts report something strange. Human colonies are still there, but they will not let anyone land. They will not accept visitors. They have cut all contact with the outside galaxy. An hour later, the three aliens sat in the main council chamber. The room felt empty with so many seats unfilled. Several species had not sent representatives because they were too busy dealing with crisis on their own worlds. The ones who did come looked desperate and afraid. We need to find a solution, Vexthak announced to the group. The human withdrawal is causing problems across the galaxy. An alien that looked like a large bird with blue feathers spoke up. Problems? My entire world has gone dark. Human fusion plants provided all our electricity. We are reduced to using primitive power sources that barely work. The floating jellyfish creature from the nebula worlds pulsed with angry colors. People cannot travel between our floating cities. Human anti-gravity technology kept our transportation working. Now we are trapped on individual platforms with no way to move between them. One of the furry bear-like aliens from the cold world stood up. We are freezing. Human heating systems were the only things keeping our cities warm enough for survival. Our old heating methods cannot handle the extreme cold of our world. Zachtel's machine voice cut through the complaints. I have new intelligence about the humans. My spies have been watching their colonies. The room became quiet. Everyone wanted to hear what she had learned. The humans are not suffering, she continued. In fact, they appear to be doing better than before. Their productivity has increased. Their technology development has accelerated. They are thriving without us. That is impossible, Vexthak said. They need galactic trade. They need our resources. They cannot survive alone. My spies say otherwise, Zachtel replied. Human colonies are completely self-sufficient. They were prepared for this withdrawal. They have backup systems for everything. They do not need anything from the rest of the galaxy. The crystal being's voice was barely audible. There is something else. My sources tell me that humans are not just surviving. They are advancing. Without having to make their technology compatible with our systems, they are developing new inventions at an incredible speed. A small lizard-like alien from the desert worlds hissed his words. We underestimated them. We thought they were dependent on us. Instead, we were dependent on them. We can force them to cooperate, Vexthak said, but he did not sound convinced. We have military ships. We can attack their colonies and make them surrender. With what? Asked the bird alien. Half our military ships cannot function without human-made parts. The other half need human fuel that we can no longer get. Zachtel made clicking sounds that her translator could not interpret. When she spoke, again her voice was full of frustration. I tried to attack a human mining station in the Vega system yesterday. All eyes turned to her. What happened? Vexthak asked. Complete failure. The humans destroyed 3 of my best warships without taking any damage. They used weapons I had never seen before. Technology that should not exist. The room filled with worried sounds from different species. If the mighty Hive Queen could not defeat a simple mining station, what hope did they have against the main human colonies? There is worse news, Zachtel continued. The humans captured some of my crews. When they were returned to me, they reported something terrifying. The humans were not just defending themselves. They were studying us. What do you mean studying? The crystal being asked. Every weapon we used against them was analyzed. Every tactical move was recorded. Every piece of our technology was examined and understood. The humans were learning from the attack. Chancellor Vexthak slammed his fist on the table. That is impossible. Our military technology is centuries ahead of theirs. Is it? Zachtel asked. My captured crews said the human defenders were using improved versions of our own weapons. They had taken our designs and made them better. The furry alien from the Cold World spoke in a frightened voice. How long have they been doing this? How much do they know about our technology? I think they have been studying us for years, Zachtel said. While we thought they were simple traders and helpers, they were secretly learning everything about us. Every time we shared technology with them, they were copying it and improving it. The bird alien's feathers puffed up with fear. They have been playing a game and we did not even know we were playing. Vexthak looked around the room at the frightened faces of the galaxy's most powerful leaders. 3 weeks ago, they had been confident and strong. They had issued demands to the humans like parents scolding children. Now they were desperate and scared. We need to contact them, he said finally. We need to negotiate. They will not answer, the crystal being said. I have tried sending messages every day. They ignore all communication. Then we send a formal diplomatic request, Vexthak decided. We offer them concessions, better terms, shared power in the council. Zachtel's compound eyes fixed on him. And if they refuse? Chancellor Vexthak did not answer immediately. He was beginning to understand the terrible truth. The humans were not refusing to negotiate because they were stubborn or stupid. They were refusing because they did not need to negotiate anymore. The galaxy had pushed humanity too far. Now the galaxy was paying the price. And the humans were just getting started. We will offer them anything they want, he said quietly. Because if we do not, galactic civilization will collapse completely. The most powerful beings in the galaxy sat in silence, finally understanding that they were no longer in control. The humans had taken that control away from them without firing a single shot. They had done it by simply walking away. And the most frightening part was that the humans were not even trying to hurt them. This was just what happened when humanity stopped helping. If humans ever decided to become enemies instead of just indifferent neighbors, the galaxy would not survive at all. 2 months had passed since the humans disappeared from galactic society. Chancellor Vexthak sat alone in his office, staring at a pile of desperate messages from across the galaxy. Each one brought news of another crisis, another civilization, on the edge of collapse. The Zephyrian homeworld was now running on emergency power. Ancient backup generators that had not been used in decades were failing one by one. His people were facing their first winter without reliable heat in over 50 years. Many would not survive. A communication device on his desk began flashing. It was marked with the highest priority signal. Vexthak activated it with one massive finger. Chancellor, came the voice of his military commander. We have received another message from Ambassador Morrison, the 5th one this month. What does it say this time? Vexthak asked, though he already knew it would be the same as all the others. Nothing, sir. Just like the others. The message is completely blank. Not even a single word. Vexthak closed his eyes and rubbed his stone-like forehead. The blank messages were worse than insults. They showed that humans knew the galaxy was trying to contact them. They just did not care enough to respond. The door to his office opened without warning. Hive Queen Zachtel rushed in, followed by the crystal being and several other alien leaders. They all looked desperate and frightened. We must try something different, Zachtel said through her translator. My colonies are dying. 3 billion of my people will be dead within a month if we cannot get human agricultural assistance. The crystal being's glow was so dim it was barely visible. My energy reserves are almost gone. Without human fusion technology, my entire civilization will go dark forever. We have tried everything, Vexthak said tiredly. Diplomatic messages, trade offers, even apologies. The humans ignore all of them. A new alien entered the room. It was Commander Zektar, a reptilian being who ran the galaxy's military intelligence. His scales were dull with stress and his eyes darted nervously around the room. I have news, he said in his hissing voice. It is not good news. Tell us, Vexthak commanded. Our spy satellites have been monitoring human space. We have detected massive construction projects on dozens of human worlds. They are building something big. Weapons? Asked Zachtel, We do not know. The construction is unlike anything we have seen before, but the energy readings suggest technology far beyond what we thought humans possessed. The crystal being made a sound like breaking glass. How is that possible? 2 months ago, we thought we were more advanced than humans. Commander Zektar's tongue flicked out nervously. That is not the worst part. Our monitoring stations have been going offline one by one. We think the humans are jamming our sensors. Or destroying them, added the crystal being quietly. Vexthak stood up from his chair. His huge form cast shadows across the room. We will use military force. If the humans will not negotiate, we will make them negotiate. With what military? Commander Zektar asked. Sir, I must report that our armed forces are at 30% capacity. Most of our ships cannot function without human-made components. The ones that still work are running out of fuel because human refineries are no longer operating. Zektel made angry clicking sounds. This is impossible. How did we become so dependent on them without realizing it? Because they planned it, said a new voice from the doorway. Everyone turned to see Captain Sarah Blake walking into the room. She was human, but she had been working in alien space for years as a trade representative. Her presence in the room was shocking because no human had been seen in alien territory for 2 months. You, Vexthak said, his voice full of anger. Where have you been? Why have your people abandoned the galaxy? Sarah smiled, but it was not a friendly smile. We have not abandoned anything, Chancellor. We have simply stopped being your servants. You were never our servants, the crystal being protested weakly. Really? Sarah asked. She pulled out a small tablet and began reading from it. In the past 5 years, humans have provided medical aid to 47 alien species. We have shared advanced technology with 32 civilizations. We have built infrastructure on over 200 alien worlds. We have solved food shortages, power crises, transportation problems, and communication failures for dozens of species. She looked up from the tablet. And what did we get in return? Demands that we surrender our weapons, accept alien supervision of our government, and move most of our people to prison worlds. Vexthak's black eyes narrowed. The Council was trying to maintain galactic peace and stability. By enslaving the people who were helping everyone? Sarah laughed, but there was no humor in it. You made one critical error, Chancellor. You thought we were helping you because we were weak and needed your approval. Why else would you help? Zaktel asked. Because we chose to help. Because humans believed that cooperation made everyone stronger, but you saw our kindness as weakness. You saw our generosity as submission. Commander Zektar stepped forward. It does not matter why you helped before. The galaxy is dying without your assistance. Billions of beings will perish if this continues. Sarah's expression became completely cold. And whose fault is that? We offered friendship and you demanded slavery. We shared our knowledge freely, and you tried to steal our freedom. We can negotiate, Vexthak said desperately. We can change the terms. We can offer you better conditions. No, Sarah said simply. The time for negotiation ended when you issued your ultimatum. You told us we had no choice. Now we are showing you what having no choice really means. The crystal being's voice was barely a whisper. What do you want from us? Nothing, Sarah replied. We want absolutely nothing from any of you. We are completely self-sufficient. We do not need your trade, your resources, your friendship, or your approval. We never did. Then why are you here? Zaktel demanded. To deliver a message. The human government wants you to understand something important. This is not punishment, this is not revenge. This is simply what happens when you threaten humans. Sarah began walking toward the door. You pushed us, and we stepped back. Now you are falling into the hole that was always there. The hole you never noticed because we were holding you up. Wait, Vexthak called after her. There must be something we can do. Some way to fix this. Sarah paused at the doorway. There is one thing you can do, Chancellor. Hope filled the alien leader's voice. What? Anything. Learn to survive without us, because whether you accept it or not, The age of human assistance is over. From now on, you are on your own." She walked out, leaving the most powerful beings in the galaxy sitting in stunned silence. Commander Zektar was the first to speak. "Sir, what are your orders?" Vexthak slumped back into his chair. For the first time in his 100-year life, he had no idea what to do. The humans had not conquered the galaxy. They had done something much worse. They had abandoned it. "Send a message to all member species," he said finally. "Tell them to prepare for complete societal collapse. Tell them to find ways to survive without any human technology or assistance. And if they cannot, ask the crystal being." Vexithak looked out the window at the stars where human ships used to travel. Then they will join the extinct civilizations that pushed too hard and learned too late that some species should never be threatened. The galaxy had learned the most expensive lesson in its history. Humans had been nice because they chose to be nice. Now they were choosing something else, entirely. And the galaxy was discovering that they had no defense against human indifference. 6 months had passed since the galaxy had given humans their ultimatum. President Lisa Carter stood in the main communications center deep inside the White House. Dozens of screens showed the current state of galactic civilization. Most of the displays showed red warning symbols. Entire star systems had gone dark. Whole civilizations had collapsed. Admiral Rick Hayes walked up beside her. His face was grim as he studied the reports. "Madam President, we are receiving over 1,000 emergency messages per day now. They are begging us to help." "What kind of messages?" Carter asked. "Everything. Medical emergencies, power failures, food shortages, transportation breakdowns. The Centauri Federation has lost 60% of its population to the Red Plague. The Altarian Republic has completely collapsed. Their government dissolved last week." Dr. Alex Thompson joined them at the main display. "The Zephyrian home. World went dark 3 days ago. Complete power failure. Chancellor Vexithak's government has fallen. There is no organized leadership left." President Carter nodded slowly. She had expected this, but seeing it happen was still shocking. "How many species are facing extinction?" 7 that we know of for certain," Dr. Thompson replied. "Possibly more. Our monitoring stations are detecting massive population drops across dozens of worlds. And our people? How are human colonies doing?" Admiral Hayes smiled for the first time in months. "Better than ever, Madam President. Without having to support alien civilizations, our productivity has increased by 300%. We have made technological advances that would have taken decades under the old system. Our colonies are completely self-sufficient now," Dr. Thompson added. "We have developed new manufacturing techniques, better agriculture, improved medicine. We do not need anything from the outside galaxy." General Kate Sullivan entered the room carrying a large tablet. "Madam President, we have a problem. Or maybe an opportunity. I'm not sure which." "What is it?" Carter asked. "We just received a formal surrender from what is left of the Galactic Council. They are offering to dissolve their government and accept human leadership of the galaxy." The room became completely quiet. Everyone stared at General Sullivan. "They want us to rule them?" Admiral Hayes asked. "That is what the message says. Complete surrender, no conditions. They are asking us to take control of all remaining galactic governments and save what is left of their civilizations." "President." Carter took the tablet and read the message herself. It was signed by the surviving leaders of 12 different species. The language was desperate and humble. They admitted they had made a terrible mistake. They begged for human forgiveness and aid. "How many people are we talking about?" she asked. Dr. Thompson checked his computer. "Our estimates suggest that only about 40% of the original galactic population is still alive. Maybe 30 billion beings across all species, and they all want us to rule them. The message says they will accept any human demands, any government structure we choose, any laws we want to impose. They just want to survive." President Carter walked to the window and looked out at the Washington skyline. The city was thriving. New construction projects were everywhere. Human technology was advancing so fast that the world looked different every month. She thought about the billions of alien beings who were dying because their leaders had been too proud and too stupid, to treat humans as equals. She thought about the human colonists who had spent years helping alien species solve their problems. She thought about the doctors and engineers and teachers who had shared their knowledge freely. "Madam President," Admiral Hayes said quietly, "what are your orders?" Carter turned back to face the room. "Set up a galactic broadcast. I want every surviving being in the galaxy to hear what I have to say." "Yes, ma'am," General Sullivan said. "When do you want to make the broadcast?" "Now." 20 minutes later, President Carter stood in front of cameras that would send her message to every world in the galaxy. Admiral Hayes stood on her right side. Dr. Thompson stood on her left. Behind them were the flags of Earth and all human colonies. "My name is Lisa Carter, President of the United Earth Government and representative of all human colonies," she began. Her voice was calm and clear. "I am speaking to every intelligent being in the galaxy." She paused and looked directly into the camera. 6 months ago, the Galactic Council gave humanity an ultimatum. They demanded that we surrender our military, accept alien supervision of our government, and move most of our people to worlds chosen by alien leaders. We refused. The Council expected us to negotiate, they expected us to compromise, they expected us to be afraid. Instead, we simply walked away from galactic civilization. We stopped helping, we stopped cooperating, we stopped being nice. The result has been the collapse of galactic society. Billions have died. Entire civilizations have been destroyed. The Council that once claimed to represent galactic peace and stability no longer exists. President Carter's expression softened slightly. "Many of you are wondering if humans will now accept leadership of the galaxy. Many of you are hoping we will save what remains of your civilizations." She took a deep breath. "The answer is yes, but not in the way you expect. Humanity will not rule the galaxy. We will not become the masters that your old leaders wanted to be. Instead, we offer something different. We offer partnership." Dr. Thompson stepped forward with a tablet. "We propose the creation of a new galactic government. Not a council where some species are more important than others, but a true democracy where every world gets an equal voice. Every species will have the same rights," President Carter continued. "Every civilization will have the same opportunities. No one will be considered superior or inferior to anyone else." Admiral Hayes spoke for the first time. "Human colonies will share our technology and knowledge freely, just as we did before. But this time it will be shared between equals, not between masters and servants." "However," President Carter said, her voice becoming serious again, "there will be conditions. The new galactic government will be based on principles of cooperation, respect, and mutual aid. Any species that tries to dominate others will be expelled. Any government that threatens peaceful neighbors will be removed. Most importantly, humanity will never again be threatened or bullied by anyone. The events of the past 6 months will serve as a permanent reminder of what happens when peaceful cooperation is replaced by threats and demands." She looked directly into the camera again. "To those species that are willing to accept these terms, humanity offers friendship, assistance, and partnership. To those who are not willing, we offer nothing at all. You have 30 days to decide. Send representatives to Earth if you wish to join the new galactic community. If you do not respond within 30 days, humanity will assume you prefer to remain isolated. This is not an ultimatum. This is an invitation. You are free to accept or refuse. But understand this. Humans will never again tolerate being treated as servants or children. We are equals, or we are nothing to each other." President. Carter stepped back from the camera. "The choice is yours. Choose wisely." The broadcast ended. Within hours, messages began pouring in from across the galaxy. Every surviving government accepted humanity's terms immediately. They had learned their lesson too late to save their civilizations, but not too late to save themselves. The age of human niceness was over. The age of human equality had begun, and the galaxy would never make the mistake of underestimating humanity again. President Carter smiled as she read the acceptance messages. "Admiral, prepare for the largest diplomatic mission in human history. We have a galaxy to rebuild. Yes, Madam President, Admiral Hayes replied. But this time we build it right. The humans had won without firing a shot. They had conquered the galaxy with nothing but their refusal to be bullied. And now they would show the universe what true leadership looked like. The galaxy had pushed humanity too far. Now humanity would teach them what cooperation really meant.